And now for some spiritual advice. My next guest is Mark Coleman. He is the author of From Suffering to Peace, The True Promise of Mindfulness. Welcome to Bay Area Focus.
Good morning, nice to be here.
All right, so first, let's just define the word mindfulness.
Well, a lot of different ways to define it. I label it as clear awareness, the simple knowing of what's happening as it's happening in the moment. So right now we can be mindful that we're talking and listening and having this conversation in the studio. So it's really about being present in the present moment with some clarity, awareness, and understanding.
No cell phones out, no distractions.
Right, so it's the opposite of multitasking, opposite of being lost in your digital technology, and actually really being here, which is actually a rare thing now. Kids and all of us really are so pulled away by phones and multitasking, and it's actually rare that we actually have a conversation, we're really present to what we're doing. You know, the research says that most of the time we're actually, our attention, our mind is elsewhere. And so mindfulness is really training us to be present, to be really here, to notice what's happening, to know both our inner and outer experience. Like in the book, I talk about being mindful of our body, our heart, our mind, and the world. And as we develop that more awareness, then there's more clarity, we function better, we know ourselves better, we're more likely to act with wisdom, with compassion.
And those, of course, are the benefits from being mindful. You talk about from suffering to peace.
Yeah, so you're probably asking why that title?
Right.
Yeah, well, so there's a lot of mindfulness books out there, and really to understand the scope of this practice, which has been around for thousands of years, it's really trying to look at why do we suffer as human beings? Why do we get stressed? Why do we create so much problems for ourselves and others? And so mindfulness gives us clarity to understand our mind, our actions, our behaviors. And with that, we can see, oh, here are the ways that I'm actually making my life worse. Here's the way I'm stressing out because I'm catastrophizing about something, I'm judging myself negatively, I'm reacting in a way that's actually not necessary. And so the awareness helps us shift from that stressful reaction to finding peace and ease with whatever's happening.
And you talk about mindfulness and using that in helping us manage triggering emotions, because sometimes it's really hard to manage those.
It is, and we all get triggered, whether it's with our kids or driving in traffic or
our spouses,
emails, right? And so what mindfulness does is actually help us find some pause, some clarity. We can actually work and track our emotions. Usually we explode, and there's a whole series of things that are happening: emotions, feelings, contractions, thoughts, judgments. All that buildup we can track with awareness, and therefore sort of circumvent that blowing the lid or the volcano erupting.
You talk about dissatisfaction as well, and mindfulness can help us deal with that.
Yeah, so, you know, our mind is constantly chasing shiny objects all the time. The latest thing, the gadget, the phone, the toy, and, you know, and all that's fine, but actually real contentment and happiness comes from within. Actually, it comes from our own presence and our ability to be content with our experience. And so there's nothing wrong with wanting things and enjoying things, and actually mindfulness enhances our capacity for joy because we're more present and we live in a beautiful world, excuse me, and so it allows us to actually be here and enjoy and appreciate what's here, and also see where we chase things that actually don't really provide lasting happiness.
You know, you talk about self-judgment real quickly before we go. What can we do about that? Because that seems to be an epidemic, and maybe a modern one too, you say.
Yeah, and my last book was about that theme, about, you know, the critical mind. And so one way is to simply shift our attention from the negativity bias that we're hardwired into us to actually looking to the positive, looking at ourselves more positively, looking at others more constructively, and seeing the goodness rather than fault finding. And then that creates a lot more well-being and happiness.
So give ourselves a break, right?
Indeed,
yes. Okay, Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us all about the book. And remember, the book is From Suffering to Peace, The True Promise of Mindfulness, and it's available on Amazon and at bookstores nationwide. And that wraps up our show this morning. Remember to follow us on Facebook and check out our website, kpix.com/Bay Area Focus. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.